Boom. It's a cool little beat, you know? Anyway. Hey, we're going to talk today about this thought. And the title is We Are Young. Now, out of the three of us, I would say you are young. I feel like I'm a little older. But this thought of We Are Young comes from super easy youth group verse of the century, of the millennia, of however long when Timothy was written to by Paul. And it says, don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. And I was just thinking about this, and I had a cool kind of intro video of that challenge for y'all, and I'll play that. But I was just thinking about this, about setting an example, and it has Paul list this out. Paul is talking to Timothy, and it's interesting that no matter what place you are in your life, someone's gonna always be older than you, and you're always gonna be younger than somebody. Isn't that interesting, right? Yeah. So maybe you could take this and say, yeah, this is for me. I'm the young one, so I gotta do this. But I think this also helps us with the leadership principle of setting an example to those, even if they're older, setting an example to those that's godly, you know, in our speech, in our conduct and love, faith and purity. So here you go. We'll throw this video up. Check it out. All right, so the challenge is that thought as the example. And that's pretty cool thinking about that, thinking about where you are, that you could set some influence up. Maybe, you know, and great thoughts of maybe you had a birthday with your parents and maybe other people plan things. And because you're young, you participated. You know, I don't know. You know, just projecting thoughts, right? And Abby, this stuff happening tonight. You know, your grandpa's taking care of some things. He's coming over, and so it may be that a lot of times plans get communicated to you, whether that's last minute, and you're like, wait a minute, I wanted to do these things, right? Or you know, maybe a little earlier. Hey, we have this. I need your help. Can you do this job? Because you're young and that's what you should do, right? Or, you know, like we made Katie and Noah for Mother's Day do the dishes, right? Which wasn't too bad. They did all right. The dishes I think are cleaning currently, right? But with all of that comes this thought of setting an example, and I wanted to move to like the Message version. It says, and don't let anyone put you down because you're young. That's good. Teach believers with your life. So the setting of an example, the showing of your life, even at your ages. And I just got to say, both of you girls are amazing girls. And, you know, we have an amazing group of students that do. You guys try to set the example. But this is by word, by demeanor, by love, by faith, by integrity. I thought that was good to think about in some different ways. These are ways, these are categories, you know, how you speak and the things you choose to say or not to say. And your demeanor, your attitude, your stature, how you carry yourself, you know, by love. and how you love others. And that's family, that's friends, and by your faith, hey, how much do you believe and are you growing in that? And then by that integrity, being who you are as no one's looking, even being the you that you are, a person that's trying to follow God and do that. And so as I was thinking about this, and really on the thought of because you're young, right? Teach people and set an example. Okay, set an example for everyone. As you do that, I thought someone that came to mind. I have been in search and in need of sports in my life, and the Last Dance has that show has filled some of that hole, in my like sports hole of nothing that's live online, on TV or whatever. And it's about Michael Jordan and his last time before he may step out of the NBA. And they let a whole bunch of these video guys follow him around. And, I have to say, get your parents' approval because they rated it TVMA, which is mainly for language. But all that to say with that is Michael Jordan was a leader. He was someone in what was brought out. Let's just do this. I did set this up. Back in the day, this was people, everybody wanted to be like Michael.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see that's how I dream to be. Dream I move, I move. I dream I groove like Mike. If I could be like Mike, I wanna be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike, be like Mike. Be like Mike. Oh, be like Mike. Yeah, I try. Sweet to fly. Just one day if I could be that way. I dream I move. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, I wanna be like Mike. If I could be like Mike, be like Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Man, that guy really sweated a lot. Anyway, Michael Jordan was. I mean, they had that commercial, and that was probably a song I sung when I was in middle school. Like Mike, want to be like Mike, because I wanted to play basketball a lot, and I was into that. And just that thought of it was cool to see the behind the scenes of this guy who was super famous. I like to think on this, okay? Y'all follow me here. Michael Jordan was a great NBA player. He gave a whole bunch of his life to the game, made millions of dollars. He did help sell Gatorade. There are some Air Jordans, so tennis shoes, Nike. He helped make Nike, the Nike brand, what it is. He had so many other influences. And then a lot of times you might see him today on the commercials for Hanes underwear. And so I just want to say sometimes you can have super highs in your life, and then you can end up selling underwear, and life will be great, I guess. So anyway, sometimes I wonder for you guys that don't recognize who Michael Jordan is. You're like, who's this guy selling underwear? And that's weird. Yeah, so anyway, that's how life goes. It's fleeting, right? It's like a mist. The Bible even says that. And so I get it that if some people, didn't know what happened back in the day, I think a lot of people even online are chatting and saying, hey, man, this is cool. I mean, I'm getting reintroduced or introduced to Michael Jordan, or I get to introduce my kid to this awesome player. All that to say, why am I on this for a minute? Because I think this principle of being an example is something he did. And I caught a phrase that he said. And, he tried the best he could to be a good NBA player as far as represent the league well and all those kind of things. But there are a couple of things in the media that when he got to the height of his career, they tried to get him on. Okay, and there was a book that came out, all that kind of stuff. But one thing he said, you know what? Really and truly, I was all about setting an example on the court. And my game is what spoke to everybody. And that's the only reason why I had those kind of commercials and all that kind of stuff and all those deals, because I worked on my game. And I have to say that about this guy, from a guy that went from not making a team in high school to still trying out to doing really well in college, but really and truly excelling when he got to the NBA as well. This was somebody that decided to live his game by the example. And that's just my challenge to you all today is you can, even in your youth, and I think Paul knew this. He said Timothy, and really he looked at Timothy as almost a spiritual son. You know, he spoke to Timothy like a father. And when Paul was older, this guy who I would say was someone that planted churches and loved on people and did all the things he did, he says, Timothy, guess what? I brought you up right, and you're leading people now, and there are some people that are older than you, and you feel younger, but don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. Set an example. So, you know, whatever court that you're on, right? Whatever stage that you're on, whether that's at home in your family, whether that's with the gifts that God's given you, whether that's with your friends, you know, you might think about this. How can I set the example so that when you do jump on the court, your game is what shows what's up? And I have to say this, setting the example, and when you look in how you speak, takes some time, does it not? To think about your words and think about how you speak and what you say, or setting the example in your conduct. That takes some work behind the scenes to say, hey, you know what? I blow up or get triggered by this, or these things happen, and man, I lose my cool, or this person and their personality sets me off, or for some reason, and you know how we deal with our conduct behind the scenes, or the love that we give and what we show in love, and the faith that we have. All these things really are a long road, because setting an example takes time. And so I just wanted to encourage y'all with that is in your youth, while you are young, take one of the greatest verses of all time for youth groups, because you most definitely feel this, and you may feel it more being in quarantine. I have given up all my rights, and now I can't see people, and I'm trying to work on my things and finish out school or whatever else, but I need to set this example. And the question is, how can you set example? What's interesting is, as you get older and you work on setting the example and you move in another phase of life, you may have the ability, just like Paul, to mentor somebody that's younger than you and may be able to help them. So just want to encourage you in that. I did have a few thoughts, because as you are young and where you are on your stage, and it being Mother's Day, I just wanted to bring this, because setting the example and being someone that follows God is all about God's wisdom. So I have some proverbs to end out this time. Hear, my son, your father's instruction. What fathers? Wait on it, and forsake not your mother's teaching. Dun, dun, dun. So, you know, when you think about wisdom, somehow wisdom comes from our mothers and fathers, instruction and teaching. Okay. Here you go. Another proverb. A wise son or daughter makes a glad father, and a foolish son or daughter is a sorrow to his or her mother. Sad, sad, sad. Foolish people. Sorrow to the mama. That's not good. Here you go. A wise daughter, son, makes a glad father, but a foolish man despises the mother. Okay? All right. Interesting, is that not? You may think about this and you go, setting an example, maybe even how you treat your family and that kind of stuff. I liked, as we went on to Proverbs, this little group of verses 23, 22 through 25. It says, listen to your father who gave you life. I gave you life. I brought you into this world. I could take you out, that kind of stuff, right? And do not despise your mother when she is old. Interesting. I don't know if you should call, Addie, I don't know if you should call your mom old, even though she had a birthday. Anyway, but buy truth, okay? Get that truth in you, and do not sell it. Don't sell the truth. Buy wisdom, instruction, and understanding. Buy these things. So this whole example stuff, this is, I think, the key. When you find God's truth and you grow in that faith, when you move into wisdom, knowing what to do with God's truth and taking action in it, when you listen to that instruction and grow in understanding, okay? The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice. He who fathers a wise son will be glad in him, or he who fathers a wise daughter will also be glad in her, right? Let your father and mother be glad. Let her who bore you rejoice. There you go. Let the mama that had you go, yeah, that's my, make her proud. I just thought this was interesting that even in Proverbs, this thought, and on a Mother's Day thought that this setting example and speech, conduct, life, and all these kind of things really goes hand in hand in walking in wisdom. That as you take God's wisdom into your life and walk and live by that, that truth and knowing God's truth helps you in this thing called faith, right? That the other things, wisdom and all those things, help you with conduct and love and faith and purity. And so there you go. Short and sweet, maybe again, maybe not too long of a talk, but just something that you can listen to through God's word. I like this. I think there are many different people, than Michael Jordan that have lived the life of an example. And really, to end on that thought, of course, one last thought is this phrase and this term of servant leadership, and that's something we use at Pace Setters Camp with Glowing Heart. And I think that servant leadership thought is exactly what Jesus, of course, the ultimate to follow, the leader of all leaders, the one who gives us life, Jesus, led by an example, but was not only a king, but was a humble king, a humble servant. And even at his last time, we remember the account where he's up in the upper room and all of a sudden starts washing the dirty, stinky feet of his disciples, those disciples, And as he does that, he challenges them to serve. And so in this thought, I think setting an example comes all these things. And so girls, tell you what, you guys and girls, I tell you, God has an amazing blessing in all of this. Don't let anybody look down on you, because, hey, you have the ability to set an example. And with that example comes influence. And with that influence comes the ability to be heard, no matter who you are. And sometimes when you feel like you're not heard, sometimes when you feel like, hey, I am young, and when am I going to get my turn? All of a sudden, because you're working on the example that you're setting and all those things behind the scenes, God gives you the ability to influence in a major way. Cool. All right. One last thought, because it came to my mind. It says, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's hand, and in due time, he'll lift you up, casting all your cares on him because he cares for you. And I think that's just a thought as you work on the example, work on speech and conduct and life and love and faith and all these things, God will work in you. Awesome. Well, hey.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, great to see y'all today. Love on your mamas. And God bless y'all. I'm gonna sign off pretty. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I had something. Oh, let's see. Let's see if I can get it back up again. It was it was my ending. I gotta get it back up. Okay, share screen. There you go. It goes like this. Let's see. It was down here at the bottom. Oh, let's see. That's what I'm saying. Did that do that?
You can sing.
That's what I'm saying. All right, very cool. Well, girls, God bless y'all today, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Enjoy your awesome dinner, and maybe y'all both have awesome dinners planned. I don't know. Leftovers. Hey, leftovers are good, and that microwave ain't too long. So hey, it's good stuff. We're gonna do a little bit of a. We may wait for the sun to go down and do some s'mores and stuff in the backyard, have a little fun. So we do that. All right. Hey, y'all have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.